ladies and gentlemen, the Houston Rockets have just signed DeMarcus Cousins and Christian Wood. And before that, their team was not that good. Their team was a disaster. They were guaranteed not to be a title contender. And the Houston Rockets lost one of the best coaches in the league and one of the best GMs in the league. But Rafael Stone and Steven Silas came in, and they will replace those really good GMs and really, really good coach in Mike D'Antoni. And one of the best moves they made is obviously they signed DeMarcus Cousins and Christian Wood. Since I'm a Rockets fan, I want to cover about this topic and how their franchise has drastically changed from a disaster to a title contender. So, first of all, they got a big in DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is a very versatile big. There are some health issues, but could shoot the three ball and he could pass the ball. In the New Orleans Pelicans, he was a beast. All the Rockets are asking him to do is play like he played with the Golden State Warriors, be a role player, be a pretty good center. He has a great post-up game, a big body, and Harden would just throw a lob to him and he would just dunk it. Him and Harden would work out perfectly. Maybe Russ and DeMarcus Cousins might not work out that well, but James Harden and DeMarcus Cousins would be a great pick and roll, and even Harden could kick it out to DeMarcus Cousins to shoot a three-pointer. I really like this DeMarcus Cousins move that the Houston Rockets have made, and it's a big-time move by the Houston Rockets. At first, I thought it wouldn't have been that good because DeMarcus Cousins injury prone, but how much more time would he get injured? Like, come on, he already torn his ACL, and then he torn, I think, his Achilles. And yeah, so how many injuries can DeMarcus Cousins really have? I'll be kind of surprised if he gets injured again. I won't be surprised, but it's like how many injuries can like a player have? That would be very sad if DeMarcus Cousins gets injured again. And then they also added in a player like Christian Wood in the Houston Rockets. Now Christian Wood is a young player. They freed up cap for him by trading Robert Covington for future first and Trevor Ariza, and then they later traded Trevor Ariza to the Pistons. And so yeah, the Pistons gave up a future first, and now the Rockets have had a lot of cap. Now, it looked like the Rockets were looking to rebuild because they're getting a Pistons future first round pick. But I'm not gonna lie, it's looking like they're trying to contend and go all in because they freed up some cap space by trading Robert Covington, and they brought in a player like Christian Wood. Christian Wood is a young player, and the Rockets really needed that. They really did not have any young players on the roster. Christian Wood could shoot the three ball just like DeMarcus Cousins, and he's a very athletic big, has a really big wingspan. I think 7'5" wingspan. He could dunk the ball really well. And again, another guy who Harden could use in a pick and roll. Two guys that Harden could use in a pick and roll is very, very deadly. You've already seen what Harden did with Clint Capella. Now you have DeMarcus Cousins and Christian Wood. Those are great additions to the team. You will have to hope that Russell Westbrook plays great in the playoffs, and I think people forgot this, but he was injured and he also had COVID-19. So basically, because of the injury, he was not 100%, and it was like he did not play that good in the playoffs, obviously. I think most of the games he like averaged like 15 points per game in the NBA playoffs against the LA Lakers. And this is honestly like his worst playoff year in his career. If you look at any of his other playoff points per game, usually averaged at least 20 points per game. But this year, Russell Westbrook played pretty terrible. He played pretty bad in the playoffs, but hopefully this roster will just stay healthy. And if this roster is like always staying healthy, the team is really, really good, and they are a deadly, deadly team. The only problem with this team is that Russell Westbrook, he's an okay defender, pretty inconsistent on that defensive side of the ball, but I think he'll play pretty good defensively. Harden, he's really inconsistent at defense. You'll see him have nights with 6 steals, or you'd see him have nights where Lou Dort would score 30 points on him. There are some nights he would play bad defense, and other nights he would play good defense. And mostly sometimes he's not even engaged on the defensive end. His offensive workload is huge. So Christian Wood's not a good defender. DeMarcus Cousins is even worse defender, especially from his Achilles injury. DeMarcus Cousins is not even that good of a defender either. You only have PJ Tucker probably in your starting lineup, or probably even Daniel House would be a good defender. The Rockets could pick up a guy like Will Barton who can help them in the defensive end. I was also thinking of a guy maybe like Brook Lopez. And Brook Lopez, I think he would be a pretty good player for them. Obviously, you will have 3 centers, but I think you could put Christian Wood at the power forward position and start Brook Lopez. And then DeMarcus Cousins would be coming off the bench. I feel like they need another guy who can play really, really good defense. You know, Harden would focus on the offensive side of stuff, and then the guy who needs to play really, really good defense focus on the defensive side of the things. I think a good fit would be Brook Lopez, and I really think he would be great on the Houston Rockets, even like a Miles Turner. This team just needs a little bit more pieces. In my opinion, they have just drastically changed the franchise. They've drastically changed their team, and the Houston Rockets have been, they're literally like title contenders with this type of team. It seems like every year they're title contender, but this year, like, it was a disaster for them. But now, like, Harden, he doesn't even want out anymore. He said that the Nets are not focusing to trade for James Harden, so they're not even interested. Not too much teams are interested to trade with Harden anymore. I think Harden wants to stay with the Rockets, and Harden has pretty good pieces now. 2 big men, and I think that would be pretty good. I think the Rockets could be title contenders. I think they need a little bit more pieces, and I'm excited for the Houston Rockets as a Houston Rockets fan. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, comment your thoughts in the comment section below.